Bienvenido, BIGJAY, escape a República Dominicana. Hasta pronto, papi.
BIGJAY, take one.
This is BIGJAY Escape to the Dominican Republic. I am on the Malacone of Port La Plata, just going for an afternoon walk. I've done a few bits and pieces today that I needed to do. Again, we have another segment. Yes, lust versus reality over here. Now, I'm not talking about the lust for the weekend warriors coming over to Sosua or Santiago or even Santo Domingo, you know, to tear down a few buildings. No. I'm talking about the man them that come here on a regular, maybe 5 times a year and spend a considerable amount of time out here. When upon spending a amount of time out here, you know, you're gonna get into relationships. Now, I'm not talking about relationships as in boyfriend and girlfriend or anything like that. You know, you could be dating someone or seeing someone. Now, usually what happens in many aspects is some of you brothers out there are meeting streetwalkers and become familiar with streetwalkers, which is fine. You know, you're growing ass men. You know, you do what you need to do at the end of the day. But, you could be lusting. You're enjoying it, you're coming over. Remember, rapports get built, feelings grow, emotions grow. We're only human beings. Don't do that to yourself. On some real shit, do not do that to yourself. At the end of the day, you're gonna become familiarized with that person. You're going to start to care about that person. You know, we're human beings at the end of the day. We don't want to do anybody dirty. We don't want to disrespect anybody. At the same time, the reality is, would you ever bring a streetwalker back to meet your mother? The question is no. Would you ever be a streetwalker to meet your kids from a previous relationship? No. Would you, and I know some of you will date streetwalkers and bring them around your boys and moan because your boys want to hit them, which is another segment altogether. My whole point is, do not confuse lust with reality, because the reality is that lust is going to turn into something else you don't want it to, because you're so infatuated with that lady, you're so infatuated with that lust, that it's going to manifest into total something else. It's going to totally manifest into something else. Before you know it, you're in a relationship with a streetwalker. We need to learn to leave the fantasy where it remains. That means that if that woman tickles your fancy, makes your toes curl, and makes you feel good, I understand that. But keep it as that. Don't try and manifest it into anything else that it's not. And that's the problem with you brothers. You manifest it into something else that it's not. And then when it goes pear-shaped, you want to start crying and moaning. Look, get one thing straight. They are human beings. But remember, these are women that sell their body to multiple men. It don't matter what the men look like. You are gonna have to lay down with that woman. Now, I'm sure for some of you out there, it probably turns you on. And that's cool, do your thing. If it turns you on and that's your type of thing, that you wanna be with a woman that has multiple bodies and you know, you like that sort of thing, and that's a fetish of yours, do your thing, man. You know what I mean? Do your thing. But if it's not your cup of tea and you don't know what direction to look in, and you know you're getting different information, be careful with that. Because like I said, it can manifest into something. I always talk about accidental relationships. Out here, you can easily fall into an accidental relationship, right? One thing about Dominican women, oh, they're good at that shit. They can rope you into a relationship. You don't even know you're in a relationship. Bam, you're in a relationship. They're good at that. That's not a bad thing. I'm not even going to say that's a bad thing or a negative thing. But fellas, on some real shit, yeah? Have some self-worth and self-respect for yourself when you're out here. You do not need to be dating nor courting a woman of the street. You don't. It's not necessary out here. Like I said, if there's a transaction's going on, fine. It's two consenting adults. She's getting something out of it, you're getting something out of it. Leave it where it is. Leave the fantasy as the fantasy. Don't try and turn it into reality. Don't try and go in and think, oh, you know what? I'm going to try and save her life, or I'm going to try and change her, or I'm going to sit down with her, have a deep conversation, and then we're going to take it from there. No, that shit's not going to work. I'm telling you. A lot have come, a lot have tried, and a lot have failed. I mean, you wouldn't do that in Europe, you wouldn't do that in England, you wouldn't do that in America. There's no way. You'll go up to a streetwalker, oh, you know what, I'm gonna wife you, I'm gonna send her, some money a month time, make sure she's all that. You wouldn't do that in America, so why would you come here and then do that? Yeah, ask yourself that question. It's because you feel that you don't have no options here. That's what it is. If the truth must be told, why would someone be in a relationship with a prostitute? Why would someone advocate you to be in a relationship with a prostitute? That means they don't like you much. Sorry, I don't know what. That means they don't like you much. Look at that. Look at that. You see that? Beautiful. Sorry, let me not lose my train of thought. That means that they don't like you much, or they have no self-value or self-respect for themselves, that they can turn around and say to you, oh, it's all right to date a prostitute, it's fine. Then you got to look at that person who they really are. For me personally, as a man, excuse me, it's blazing here. As a man, I'm not going to be in a relationship with no sort of prostitute, no sort of walker, no sort of secret streetwalker. That ain't for me. That ain't for my life. I value my life more. I'm self-worth. And as the late, great Kevin Samuel says, I am a high-value man. Now, not in the words of Kevin Samuel, in terms of I'm a high-value man with my own respect. I'm a high-value man here. You are a high-value man here. You just don't realize it. You just don't realize it because you haven't spent time here. You don't know the culture. You haven't seen a lot of stuff. You just see surface stuff. And it's easier to go to places like Sosua, feel like the king of the hill, and then think this shit is real. And it ain't real. It's just basically business. And some of you, man, them need to understand that. Sosua is business. And it's not me getting on Sosua or anything. I'm just using it as a blueprint because, you know, you got a lot of brothers that go there falling in love. Yeah? Don't mistaken lust for reality. Because the reality is, once you got a good woman over here, you got a good woman. That's nothing whatsoever to do. You know, I always hear, oh, they're the same. No, they ain't the same. No, they ain't. Oh, you're paying for it anyway. Stupid, immature statements like that. You're paying for it anyway. Okay, so my question to, and I always ask this question to fellas that want to jump, so you got to pay for it anyway. Okay, so when your father was courting your mother, or when your daughter's out there dating, what? Paying to sleep with your daughter? What your father was paying to sleep with your mother? Like, come on. Like, let's stop that shit. That shit is so immature and so stupid. Like, paying for sex is paying for sex. We all know Once you're in a relationship, it's a responsibility first and foremost, right? If you don't want that responsibility, don't be in a relationship. We all know is a real man, once he's got a real woman, he's gonna do anything for that woman, right? So all of this crap of, oh, well, you're paying for it anyway. I don't even pay attention to that shit. And usually the ones that say that are usually the guys that haven't had women back in their country and they come over here, you know what I mean, fucking 500 plus pounds out of shape thinking that they're the man. Why? Because you just paid for a bit of underneath now. I'm putting it on YouTube so you just think that, oh, you're the man. Nah, miss me with that. You know what I mean? Miss me with that anyway. I ain't impressed. I'm just like, okay. You know what I mean? But seriously, guys, don't get that mixed. Do not get streetwalkers and real women out here confused. So now, the real women out here that don't put themselves on the street, you know, I'm not going to turn around and say they're perfect, they're this. No, some of them are full of shit. I'm going to keep it real. Some of them are full of shit. Some of them are good actors. You know, they will play the part and they will chew you up at the same time. So there's that respect and aspect of things. However, like I said to you guys before, if you follow certain things of what I'm saying, and a lot more is gonna come out, and put it in perspective, it's just gonna cut out a lot of the bullshit. Because you recognize certain signs and be like, you know what? That's not for me. That ain't for me. Let me allow that. Anyway, let me pause, let me just take some views in, man. So yo, man, just like I'm telling you fellas, yeah, don't get it all confused out here. Don't confuse your lust for reality out here. Keep the lust in the lust box, okay? Don't try and bring out that lust into reality and think that you can have a healthy, full-fledged relationship with streetwalkers, because the reality is, it's not gonna work. That's the reality. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't advocate for it. If there's people out there telling you to do it or telling you that they get comfort from it, then you have to check that person's mental health. Maybe they've gone through stuff in their life that they feel they've got to go and do that. Personally, I'm not gonna tell you to go and do it. I wouldn't advocate for that. I would say avoid it by all costs, right? So like I said, leave the fantasy, leave the lust to one side. Lust is lust, fantasy is fantasy. Keep that separate from when you're ready to be real about someone that's going to be special in the future for you. Or you know, you're still looking at CVs. You know, you're still going to be looking at CVs from different women thinking, you know, I want to kind of settle down now and kind of chill out with this one person. Take time, do your due diligence, right? But make sure it's not a woman from that sector. Because I'm telling you now, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. That's it. So this segment is going to be stamped. Reality from fantasy. Yeah, and that's it, man. It's a nice, lovely day today. It really is. And I'm just happy that, you know, I've kind of found a medium now in the YouTube just to give out what I know, which is gems and information about relationships. Like I always said, right? If you are a full-time mongerer and you're mongering and you're tearing down buildings and you know what you're doing, salute to you. This video is not for you brothers, because you brothers are just going down, tearing down buildings and doing what you need to do. This video is not for you, so please don't come in my section telling me, oh, Big J, I'm a player, Big J, don't do that. Don't do that. I hate when people do that. Like this is, if it doesn't adhere to you, then it's not for you. Yeah, don't get in your feelings and start putting silly comments in my section about, oh, you knew this already, or oh, I'm not saying nothing new. And right, if I'm not saying nothing new, why you are dating a prostitute then? That's all I'm saying. So don't come in my section and do that. Anyway, Big J escaped to the Dominican Republic. I hope you learned something today. I hope you took some gems away from it. And I hope you don't make them dumbass mistakes. Peace, love, manners and respect. Blessings.